another weekly preview here. It's AK47, Josh Smith Trades over at TradeCaster.com and Prime Trading Investment. You need some one-on-one help, to watch someone trade live with you or go over your trades and analyze trades. Go over to my website, PrimeTradingInvestments.com. Been doing one-on-ones with traders for 3 years. You need some help day in, day out with the best badass, the Twitch of stock trading, so to speak, where myself, Dekmar, Sean Dekmar, Kush, Caesar, Yeah Buddy, J Trades, Active Traders, so many traders are going live every single day so you can learn from small cap to large cap, options and shares, and you want to do futures even. We've got how to do prop firm. We got you covered over at TradeCaster.com. 7-day free trial, so go hit that up. Now let's get into it because it's a big week, baby. It's a big week, baby. It's a big one. NVDA earnings comes out, so to me, it is really make or break week here for the SPY, S&P 500. Right now, everything. This is a big week. NVDA earnings, SMCI, what it does this week. Let me show you small cap stuff real quickly. What I've been seeing, and just time in, time out, we've been seeing this over the past few weeks now. Look at these small cap plays. I'll just go kind of start from Wednesday. Every single day when these plays crack through the VWAP, whether it's in pre-market after the opening bell, where are we finding ourselves, team? So if you're going long, it needs to be in pre-market, and it needs to be right at the opening bell. Otherwise, these plays are dying off. And what you're looking for most times on these plays are what? A nice, good setup. Look at this gorgeous trend line crack. Back to the VWAP, couldn't regain it, down we go. Every single day here, we saw these plays do this over and over and over, right? CHNR, that was one that actually I got in pre-market all the way down into the twos, and then it popped back on up, and you can short again on down. Like, it's just every single day when you crack back through the VWAP, these plays, yes, are spiking up pretty decently. Let's go over real quickly at DTSS. This was one that popped up really nicely above the VWAP, like I just showed you, but still, crack the trend down to the VWAP. And when you finally have caught that VWAP, most of these plays, at that point of the day especially, where most of these plays, like CPOP, when they catch it in pre-market, right on up, pre-market, buy. This is another great short I had this week. Again, back on up here, and then to reshort it again on the way back on down. Look at the trend line cracks that you could short right here as well. Trend line to VWAP crack, trend line to VWAP crack, trend line below the VWAP, you better short that every time. Look at DXF, look how easy this one was. Trend line below the halts that's halting around here at the opening bell. You can put a trend line in there, cracks that in the VWAP all the way down to 50 cents. Let's go back to HTOO. This is another great short opportunity as well. Beautiful short. VWAP caught up with an opening bell. Buy. See you later. Now again, where is it going long? Pre-market to the opening bell. JXJT. I shorted this one myself. This was stupid money. I told everyone the 910 shell crack. Watch out, baby. Down to $8, under 8 to that 755-ish area, bounced right off of it, and then when you crack it, you're going down to the next levels, which I could see down to the 6, if not down to 550, and that was where I was taking profit and kind of done for the day. And then again, when it cracked 5 on down for more short, and that was when I was completely done wiping my booty with it, so to speak. OCG, this was, I couldn't get to it quick enough. Look at this one on Friday. Right on, just right back on down. Super duper easy. TAOP, I think this one was from Wednesday as well. One of the first ones. Well, I could go back earlier in the week, the Monday and Tuesday plays. But again, trend line crack below the VWAP. Buy. Look at it. Could have got in somewhere right around $2 to $1.90. I remember alerting this in chat. Watch for the trend line. $2 and $1.90 shelf crack. This will find its way down to $1.60, maybe even possibly all the way down to $1.30. And you can see it definitely found $1. Now it leveled out there, but that's what you're looking for at small caps. If you're going long, you better do it early, pre-market, at the opening. But a lot of these places have no news as well. Be looking to short the small cap trash. Now let's get to the large cap plays, and oh, what a week it is. As you can see that we broke our daily downtrend, or uptrend, I should say, on Friday with the PPI data. It came out. Now, where do we range in the next couple of days? I'm going to go over the main plays that I think will fluctuate the most with NVDA and its earnings. Let's start with the SPY. I don't think we get any lower, in my opinion, than 494 before the earnings comes out. I don't really think we may even get lower than 496. It could be that small of a ranging week. I don't think we get back over 502 is my point. So essentially $4 up, $4 down. We don't get any higher than that by the time earnings report comes out Wednesday afternoon. So if we're between 498 and 494, somewhere in this area, and the earnings is good, watch for a pop back up to 503.50 to 505, if not 507.50 for the SPY. If we're up away already at 500 plus in 502 area, and it's good, watch for the pop easily, obviously, over 503.50 to 505. To me, 508.75 to 510 is a lock. So, ultimate high of the week, somewhere right around 510, could be even a tad higher, depends on how much NVDA moves. So at least say 510 if it's good. If it's bad, and we're on the high side, we kind of pop up somehow in the next couple of days, that's where we're going to matriculate to. Watch for a pullback down to 494, then down to this 491 mark, and below that down to 490. Under 490, you know it, 488.75 is on lock, and that's the minimum I have for the week, somewhere right around there if we start up high. If we start down lower, watch for a move easily down to this 482.50 mark. Over to, in my opinion, some of these movers are going to move with it. I'll go to Apple. I think Apple will have a little fluctuation with it. The lowest we see by earnings report, 180. The highest, in my opinion, right about 184, 185. If we're to the low side and earnings is good, watch for a pop to 186. If not up to 187.50, could maybe hit 189. If we're to the high side and earnings comes out and it's good, we're hitting right up here at 191. In my opinion, could hit that easily, could hit 193. So we'll say 193 the high for the week. Now for the lows, and it's negative. Bad earnings. We'll start with the high side. Watch for a move down to this 481 mark, then to 479 right here. Somewhere right around 479 to 478.75 is going to get hit. If it's to the lower side and we have bad earnings, we're hitting 175, if not 172.50. AMD is going to be another one, in my opinion, that will fluctuate a little bit with it. I don't think we get any lower than 170 to 168.75 before the earnings. Maybe 168. These little lower little shadows in the mid to 168s, but I think we wouldn't get lower than that area, in my opinion. So somewhere in here. To the high side, we're not getting any higher than 178 to 179. So if the earnings is good and we're to the low side, watch for a pop back up to 180. 181, you can see tough resistance to around 183.50. That's if we start down here. Is easily going to hit 181, if not 183.50. If we're a little higher, and especially higher, say above 175, 176, watch for a pop to 187.50, 190. 200 will be coming up and will be on lock. Now, if it's bad and we're up high, we start around the 175, 176 plus mark, somewhere in here. Watch for a pullback on AMD to around 172 to begin with, then down to 169.50. Could hit overall down to 168.75 if it's a bad earnings over Thursday through Friday. And again, even below that, could crack its way down to 166. If we start low, we're hitting this 160 mark. Yeah, we're definitely hitting this 160 mark and could hit down to 155 for AMD. Now over to ARM. In my opinion, we probably fluctuate, and again, small choppy range over the next couple of days. No lower than this 116.50 mark that we created on Tuesday. Really no higher than this one, essentially the 135 resistance that we had all week. Maybe up to a little over 140. So this will be the range, in my opinion, of the next couple of days. If it's a good ER for NVDA, watch for a pop on ARM up to 140, through that to 145 in this 154, 155 area. Over that for ARM, watch for a pop potentially up to 165. Even maybe 175. Especially the higher we start, and we are already in this area, 135, 140. Watch for that pop to 175, 100% into Friday. Could even get over it. Now, if it's a bad earnings report for NVDA, I don't think it's going to, real quick, I'm going to bring this up. I don't think it's going to be one of those things where, bad earnings report for NVDA, let's go, now ARM's going to go up, or AMD's going to go up. I don't think it's going to be one of those situations. I think they will roll and run with what NVDA does. Say we're to the top side and it's bad for NVDA, easily hitting this 116.50 mark, in my opinion, flying on then down to this 102, 103 mark. The lower we start and we're below 125 or in the 120s, or low 120s I should say, we will easily hit that 102 mark, add 10 more bucks to it, and we'll find our way back down to kind of this opening range down to about 93.50 if it's bad for NVDA. Another one that I think possibly, now Amazon, Google, I'm going to leave those alone. I think Meta has another, I think that's one that could possibly really run and surge with AMD. Now maybe, I will say to the negative side, maybe ARM and AMD don't fizzle as much. Maybe that's going to be more on the SPY. Maybe, but I don't think it's going to be one of those things again that AMD or NVDA has bad earnings, AMD starts going up. I think it will go down. Now, maybe I'm a little too harsh on how some of these may go down, but I do want to give you these bigger levels. For Meta, overall, I don't think we get any lower than 455, 460 before the earnings report. We get no higher than 485, especially 490. So if we're on the bottom side, fluctuating below 470 and the earnings is good, pop back up to 4. I think, in my point back to that too, I think they're going to run, if anything, they're going to run more so with it upside than downside. I think they still, if NVDA is bad, I think these stocks still go down. But again, I just want to give you the biggest low areas. I may be a little harsh on them, but I truly feel the effect on them will be felt more so to the top side, not the bottom side. The top side, I think, could really surge these stocks up to whole new highs, like AMD to 200. ARM up to 175, then possibly 200. Obviously, AMD to 200. But ARM showing it can really move, $30, $40 in a day at that point. Meta's, in my point being, Meta could hit 500. And so Meta starts down low, easily 490s unlocked, could hit 500. If we start above 475 or anywhere over 480, and it's good for NVDA, watch for a pop up to 500, could hit 510 to 515. To the bottom side, say we start up a little higher, 475 plus, and it's negative for NVDA. Watch for that crack back on down to 460, 455, and then to 450. If it's really bad and really some fluctuation and we start lower, especially if we crack 450, that's where, at least on Meta, this could plummet down to 440, 430. I don't think NFLX has much of movement. Let's go straight to the big daddy itself, NVDA. NVDA here, team. NVDA. I think it's going to range, go back to what I told you guys. It's going to range just like it just did. I said, hey, talked about this last Monday heading into this week. I said, because we're already over 700. If you go back to Friday, I said, hey, I think we're going to do what we did the previous time when we got over 600. Got over 600 and really just fluctuated. I saw a big channel right here before we squeeze for more. I think we do the same thing again where we fluctuate from 700. Sorry, hold on. Hey, I'm not done. Nope. There you go. Get some real life life in the AK house with all the dogs. Anyway, so I think we fluctuate right here, and we have been. Go back and listen to my morning or my weekly preview, and I talked about it all week because I was right. I said, I bet you we do the same exact thing and find a top and a bottom and fluctuate. Well, we have 7. Essentially, here's your bottom and here's your top. And so I think we do that again heading through this week. So we don't get any higher than 745, 750, or really any lower than 715, maybe down to 705. We fluctuate somewhere in here the next couple of days before the earnings report. The only way I see we get out of this would be a leading TID cap, which I talked about, and you go back to AMD when the earnings report came out, and you can do this with most of the plays. Meta kind of did it as well. Queenie, not happening. Go, Queenie. Go lay down, Queenie. They kind of tipped the cap, and that whole, it'll be choppy. Look, so Monday, Tuesday, the 2 days leading into AMD's earnings, choppy, and then all of a sudden got that massive movement right here, right? Leading into the earnings report, then went down even more here at the closing bell, as you see. Watch for that as well, as my point being NVDA here. That's the only way I think we get below or above or below these levels is if it's going to be good, and watch for this, and then you're going to know it's going to be good on Wednesday is if we're pushing through 745, 750, and we're seeing 750, 250, and I'm going, team, better jump in now. It's about to explode with good earnings. Same thing to the bottom side. We're going down. Now we're starting to crack through 700 on Wednesday. I'm going to be going, okay, I was wrong. Looks like we could be having a bad earnings report. Needless to say, if you're wanting to trade the earnings, watch for that as well. Let's go back to Meta. I've had so many traders make so much money on my alerts and how to trade them. It shows you. It tips the cap ahead of time, and then when it starts going, it's going. And so essentially, this was one of those days where Meta did not tip its cap, so you do have to wait. And when you wait, here's what you have to do for after hours. As soon as it comes out, the first $3, $4, $5, it starts going up. I can't tell you. Renard in chat, so many traders in chat have banked on this right here. And man, AK, I made money on and even in the earnings reports last month because of this strategy. When you see Meta, for this point in sake, it starts going through 403, 405, 410. It is skyrocket. It's going. Get in. It's flying. So my point being, when you see, NVDA, let's just go back to NVDA, and no matter where we're at heading into Wednesday, and say we're just at 720. And all of a sudden the earnings, it's say obviously you can tell it's bad because we're down to 715, 710. Jump in because we're flying down to 700. We're flying down to 695. We're going to fly all the way down to 6. You know what I'm saying? So, or if it's good and we start getting over 745 and 750 and we see 755, Don't wait to 775 or 780 to jump in. You'll already be up 20 bucks if you just jump in when you see 755 is my point. Get in. The momentum will show you when it continues in that direction through the next day. So the other thing to do here, team, otherwise, the levels to look for. If we're going up and the earnings is good and we're to the low side, we actually come down a little bit this week before the earnings. We're going to 750, blowing through that to 775 up to 800, if not 825. Might even hit 850 to 875 by the next day into Friday. Or yeah, into Thursday, into Friday. And so watch for that. To ultimate high of the week for at least 825 if it's good. If we start low. If we start high, this is going to hit 850 if not 875 in my opinion. Now low for the week. If it's bad and we start high, we're definitely, like I said, coming down to the 695 mark and then all the way down to 665. Possibly if it's bad enough, we could hit all the way back down to 635 on the top of that little channel. Now we start lower and we're already close to 700 or 710 or whatever by the time we crack and it's bad. Watch for a pullback down to the 600 mark. So ultimate high of the week, 875 or so. Ultimate low of the week, right around 600. Now the only one I think that's obviously going to move with it, the other monster mover, and I'm telling you, be careful with this week. SMCI, just get in with momentum because it's going to be a crazy fluctuating play. I've been talking about this for weeks, kind of like Tesla did in 2020 and 2021. 2020 even more so because it got like this where it started having $100 days, and then when it got close to 1,000 and then finally to it, started having $200-$300 days at times. And so just like on Friday, do not be surprised if, say, tomorrow we pull back to 750, then maybe even down to 710, and then maybe even down to 660, whatever, somewhere in this area, and then bounce all the way back up to 800, close at 800. Then the next day we push all the way up to 925, come back down to 800, crack it down to 8 or 735, and then back up to 850, close at 850. You know, kind of that kind of movement over the next couple of days. Like traders just can't determine which direction we're going. And so watch for a fluctuation no lower, in my opinion, than 625 to 700 before the earnings report. It could get that low and that fluctuating, and no higher than 1K, in my opinion. I think we're gonna go choppy in the next 2 days. Now, say earnings is good and we start lower than 800. Watch for a pop back up to 1080, possibly 1280 into Friday. If we're higher than 800, watch for that pop up to 1080 through 1250, if not up to about 1500 for SMCI. To the low side, if earnings are bad and we start up higher, watch for a pullback down to that 635, 625 mark, and then in my opinion, all the way down to 560, and then possibly down to the 500 mark. If we start lower, and we're like say in this area and they're bad, we could easily come back to the plateau, which is 355, the takeoff joint. Couldn't get over it, came down, filled hard back down $100 or so, channeled there for a while, came right back to it earlier last month or mid last month, about a month ago. And right as we're on the point, look how perfectly that is where I'm putting my crosshairs at, and then look where the squeeze came from. So in my opinion, if earnings is bad and we start lower, we will find our way back from the breakout point that we started from, which is right around 355. So ultimate high of the week could be 1500. The low of the week could be 350 essentially. The other last one, I don't think it's going to move too much. It could though, is Tesla. It's got to get back over this shelf. So this is going to be huge for Tesla. Back over 208 to 210, this area right through here. If we get through that, maybe we pop to 220. There you go, team. It's a big week ahead. AK-47. Josh Smith Trades here, trying to walk you through and break these down every day. If you ever need any help, hit me up on Prime Trading Investments. I've been doing those one-on-ones, like I said, for almost 3 years. Been doing those morning voice alerts for over half a year now, helping out over 100 traders every morning, break down plays, making thousands of dollars. If you want to watch traders stream live from a multitude of standpoints of how they trade, different traders across the board, come over to tradecaster.com. We've got you covered. And until next time and next week, team, you know it in 3, 2, 1. Bang! See you next time, team.